Hey everyone, if you're hunting for a gaming PC that won't leave you staring at loading screens or wrestling with finicky setups, this Skytech Storm is worth a hard look. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Most pre-built rigs either promise the moon and deliver a slideshow, or they nickel-and-dime you on storage and ports. This one tries to split the difference without making you sell a kidney. You get a 6-core Ryzen 5 5500 that can still handle modern titles at 1080p without thermal throttling, paired with an RTX 5060 Ti that actually has 8GB of GDDR7 on board. That's enough VRAM to keep textures crisp in games like Cyberpunk or Alan Wake 2 without dropping frames. Storage is a roomy 1TB NVMe SSD, so you can park your OS, a handful of AAA titles, and still have room left for screenshots and mods. The 16GB of DDR4-3200 keeps everything snappy, and the 650W Gold PSU is quiet enough that you won't hear it over your headset. Where this machine shines is in everyday living. If you're the kind of gamer who also streams, multitasks with Discord and Chrome, and still wants to jump into a quick Valorant session without rebooting, the extra RAM and fast SSD make a real difference. I've seen similar rigs with half the storage and 8GB of RAM choke on a single Chrome tab while a game is running in the background. Here, you're not fighting the system, it's just there. The Wi-Fi 5 card is the first place some buyers might blink. If your router is ancient or you're sitting in the garage while gaming, you'll want to run an Ethernet cable. Wi-Fi 5 is fine for most living room setups, but it's not future-proof if you ever upgrade to a mesh system that pushes Wi-Fi 6. Still, for the price, including any wireless at all is a nice touch. Many budget pre-builts skip it entirely. On the flip side, the case fans are basic. They do the job, but they're not whisper quiet, and they won't give you that RGB light show vibe. If you're the type who tweaks fan curves or plans to add a second intake fan later, budget another $20 for a quiet PWM fan. The stock cooler is adequate for the Ryzen 5, but if you ever push the CPU hard for hours on end, you'll hear the fans ramp up. It's not a deal breaker, just something to keep in mind if your gaming room is also your bedroom. Speaking of upgrades, the motherboard only has 2 RAM slots filled. That means if you ever want to go beyond 32GB, you'll need to replace both sticks. It's not a deal breaker for most gamers today, but it's worth noting if you plan to keep this rig for 5+ years. The RTX 5060 Ti is the real bottleneck here. It's a solid card for 1080p high refresh gaming, but it's already a step behind the latest mid-range GPUs when it comes to ray tracing and 1440p. If you're eyeing a 1440p monitor now or in the near future, you might outgrow this card faster than you think. Who should buy this? If you want a plug-and-play gaming PC that can run today's titles at 1080p without fuss, and you don't need bleeding-edge ray tracing or 4K, this is a solid entry point. It's also a good choice if you're coming from a console and want to dip your toes into PC gaming without wrestling with assembly or driver hell. The included Windows 11 license and no bloatware setup mean you're not staring at Candy Crush ads or trialware you'll never use. Who should skip it? If you're already rocking a 1440p or 4K monitor, or you plan to upgrade soon, this card will feel underpowered. Hardcore streamers or content creators who need more VRAM for Blender or Premiere might want to step up to a 12GB or 16GB GPU right away. And if you're the kind of person who tweaks every fan curve and RGB setting, you'll probably swap out the stock fans and cooler within the first month anyway. Bottom line, Skytech's Storm gives you a capable 1080p gaming rig with enough storage and RAM to live with, not just boot up. It's not the flashiest or the quietest, but it's reliable enough that you won't be trawling forums for driver fixes every weekend. If that sounds like what you need, check the link in the description and see if it fits your setup.